I thought we should start with the tropics, even though, just letting you all know, nothing concerning out there right now. No tropical formation expected in the next 7 days.
Yeah, and this is definitely a Weather Geeks show.
Yes, it is. Welcome, fellow weather geeks.
And I'm going to point this out only because I understand that for a weather geek and anybody that kind of looks at this and they say, they see swirls.
Yeah.
And do you see the swirl there basically due east, like south of Bermuda? It's kind of right below the yellow box right there. That's a little upper level low. There's nothing there, okay? But it's just kind of pointing it out in the sense that it is there. It's a little upper level low, but
fair point.
You need something down near the surface, convection to flare up, and it does rotate, but not going to develop with that area there, Lee.
And it's quiet, or let me say calm. We don't like to use that other word.
Oh, the Q word.
That word.
Just so you know, at home, a little peek behind the scenes, the Q word is a 5-letter word that is you don't say it in a newsroom.
It jinxes things usually in a newsroom.
Yeah.
So we're going to say calm. Couple reasons for that. One, that Saharan dust that's out there, Robert. So let's see if I can load this graphic up.
Get those itchy eyes.
Yeah. So just this plume of dust out there that kind of keeps things dry. So of course, tropical storms, hurricanes, they need moisture, and dust is dry air. It keeps the air very dry, and so it inhibits any sort of formation usually, or it really fights it. It stops a lot of things from forming, or it will quickly choke out a tropical storm or hurricane. So we've seen a good bit of dust out there to keep things nice and calm. We also watched something called wind shear. And Robert, you were showing me this earlier.
Yeah, a solid wind shear on a current typhoon in the Western Pacific. Now, this was a Cat 4. Actually, there's multiple agents here. One was rating at a Cat 5, equivalent of the Saffir-Simpson scale at its peak. And you can see here at the beginning of the loop, so right there, like just very organized, symmetrical storm. But then it almost immediately starts to encounter wind shear here. And it's like blowing out a birthday candles. You know, you get the flame pushed towards the side and eventually it might blow out. Well, that's what we see. And actually the low-level center completely exposed at one point there. So it goes from a major hurricane equivalent here, a Cat 4, Cat 5, down to a tropical storm in the course of like 24 hours. And it just really shows how, we're talking about dry air, but also shear can really just do a number on a storm system, going from that perfect kind of engine, you get that exhaust aloft, to just blowing it over and disrupting that wind flow. And we point this out here because we always talk about shear here in the Atlantic whenever we're talking about tropical systems, but it's always a good example. You can look at stuff around the world, and thus weather watchers worldwide here, and you can see some of those impacts in different scenarios and just learn from them and how that could impact our weather here. But this by the way is turning towards north, and for our military friends, just want to let you know, for Okinawa, it's like 300,000 Americans out there that are around that island. They're probably going to see tropical storm strength conditions with this one as well.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something we'll watch. Again, that's, as you said, though, over in the Pacific. And here locally, just reminding if anyone's tuning in a little bit late, locally, we are not tracking anything right now. No tropical formation expected in the next 7 days. But we're getting close to July. And so our formation regions are going to change a little bit, kind of move to the east more, or move, I should say, more for the Western Atlantic rather than the Caribbean. You can start to see things form more towards the Windward or Leeward Islands, and then go up the east coast of Florida, as well as head through the Caribbean and into the Gulf. But as we head later into hurricane season, we'll start to see these areas spread out a little bit more. Waters continue to warm across the Atlantic. Conditions become a bit more favorable across the Atlantic as we head later into our hurricane season.
But I do want to remind people that it is that El Nino setup, which tends to,
That's true.
Not 100%, but it tends to inhibit tropical formation in the main formation area.
Correct.
So I think we should pay more
And
attention.
the reason why.
Wind shear.
Wind shear. So it all connects. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Continue
But that's mainly the main formation area. So those storms in the Gulf and off of the East Coast would be more likely. So,
Right.
and I point that out too, because a lot of people have talked about, and us too, we're guilty of it, saying it could be an average to below average season. But that doesn't mean zero storms. And also it does mean less main formation area formation, but still could be seeing these storms form up in the Gulf and off of the East Coast near the state of Florida and on the first coast here. So we're still got to pay attention to it, right?
Definitely. Absolutely. And yes, so far we've had one named storm. We had Arthur, and that's kind of right on time. So usually we get our first storm around June 20th. And it was, June 19th, June 18th? 17th. It was 17th. And it was close to it. It was right around that time. And usually on average, this is a 30-year average from 1991 to 2020, we get our B storm July 17th, our C storm on August 3rd. However, if you look here, you don't get your first hurricane usually on average until around August 11th. So that is saying that the first 3 named storms could potentially be all tropical storms. But of course, that's just a 30-year average. Lots to watch out for. Of course, we have the example of Hurricane Beryl a couple years ago. That was our B storm, and that was a major Category 5. So
you're telling me I shouldn't take a cruise in the Caribbean in mid to late August?
I'm so sorry to burst your bubble.
I'm not going on a cruise. I'm just saying, that would be nice.
It would be nice. You could try.
Bring
just buy the insurance, the trip insurance.
The Dramamine.
Dramamine, yes, absolutely.
How do you say it?
Dramamine?
Dramamine.
That's how I've always said it.
I was in the Navy. We didn't have that.
No,
they
and
didn't
I
give
get
it to
motion
us.
sick so easily. So I have I think I have some in my backpack right now. For what reason? I'm at work, but I have it all the time.
We weren't allowed to take it in the Navy because it makes you drowsy, and so you could take it going to bed, but you couldn't take it while you're working. So
fair. Thank goodness now they have the less drowsy and non-drowsy ones now, but still I can see how. Yeah.